Hey, YouTube. YouTube. Move his light out the way. Oh, wait a minute, YouTube. Gotta get it together here. You guys are all here. Shit. How embarrassing. Well, I started that thing. I thought, well, I'll just back out of it and start over. Anyway, we're here, so what the hell? Hey, YouTube. So the folks is talking about the situation between Miss Khia and Armand Wiggins. I thought I'd have a couple words about it. Well, there's a lot of people here. Lord have mercy. Y'all fast, honey. You guys are quick. Princess A is always number one. I bet you got something on your computer that makes it comes up first every time. I'll bet you got a method, Princess A. Hi. Almond Brown, Prima Wanda. Yeah, you guys, I thought I'd chime in on this situation with Khia getting Armand Wiggins' page shut down. Now, I went to, people say that Khia has now given Armand Wiggins a strike and had him restricted for the next 3 months, right? So I said, oh, that's interesting. It happened to me once. It happened to me once with Walter Lee Hampton, and I didn't appeal it because I didn't do live, so it didn't mean anything to me. But the main thing is you can't go live for 3 months. Now, when these guys are getting 30, 40, 50,000 views on their lives, then that can wind up being quite a bit of money. So when you shut people down, you can cost them their mortgage for that month. Having said that, I went on there. I see his page is still up, and I see that he made a video 21 hours ago. So he made a video yesterday. So this must have been something that just happened. Of course, Khia is not wrong if this guy is using her videos, because Khia is a talent. Now, I made the mistake of making a video about Khia maybe 3 weeks ago, and I was commenting about her decor. I thought she should do something different in the basement to make it a little more inviting, right? Well, the response I got, Miss Khia has got quite a following. They jumped all down my throat and made me feel so bad I had to take the video down. And it had quite a few views. So Khia's got a big audience. From what I remember of her, she was never very astute as to working YouTube, right? When they were going through that thing with Khia and TS, Khia had been going live for free. She had been making videos for free for at least a couple of years, and nobody told her that she should be monetized. So I remember a scene where the alien was showing her how to monetize. She didn't even know. That tells me that somebody has schooled her on how to flag and get a person's page taken down. Okay? Having said all that, hey, everybody home? Y'all staying home? Having said all that, apparently Armand is doing these reaction videos, right? Where he'll play someone else's video, and then all through it, the other person's video is the actual content, right? He's giving commentary on their content, but he's getting views from their work, their creativity. So either Khia came up with herself or ran into it herself or somebody, because people, we all have different people who watch us, has told her that he is doing this and she can stop him from doing this, right? So of course Khia is right. That is her that is her intellectual property. And if anybody going to be making money off of it, it should be her. So I think Armand Wiggins is going to have to take this L. Right? And just learn from it. Like when Hampton flagged me, I just know, listen, I haven't played nobody's material since then. It was only a 1-minute clip. Something that embarrassed him, so he took it to that level. And I haven't done it again. It's like putting your hand in the socket when you're a child. Touch that socket. Oh, that's hot, burns. So some things you're just going to have to accept. He's going to have to come up with a different method, because if she can do it, other people can do it. And when there's buzz and talk about it, then people start realizing, oh, shit, I can get this dude off my back. Because even though we say in the beef sector, though, we all talk about the same people, the same, 20 people. Those guys that do entertainment, they know better than us, because they're doing a handful of people too. All their stories about the same people, Trina, Khia, whatever, a few other ones, Wendy Williams and all that. So they do the same people over and over and over again as well. So he's just going to have to accept this and take his L and move on. But I went to his page today, and his page is still up, and he made a live video yesterday. So maybe this just starts today. I don't know. But you can make a living still just making upload videos. I just started making live videos just recently. So you have to work a little harder, and you got to force yourself to stay on longer. What do you guys think? Is it wrong for her? Because Kai does come hard at people now. She makes her living coming mighty hard at people. But the rules are what the rules are. Armand is not going to fight it. I don't know what he has to fight. I mean, it's on video. And I think I saw the video. Let me see. On June 5th, Bobby likes, drags, and exposes Khia. Reaction. He got 37,000 views, right? That video is still up. So if the video in question, if that's it, unless they made one after that, what was that, 5 days ago or something? About 4 days ago. If that's the video in question, it is still up. Generally, when they strike you, the first thing that has to happen is you take the video down. So I don't know what the situation is there. George Floyd and an officer didn't get along at the... Okay, thank you, Blue Skies. Uncle Tim, they're reporting George Floyd and officer didn't get along at the nightclub they both worked at. Yeah, that's what I heard too. That's what I was reporting last week, that these guys actually knew each other. Now, if you were doing this to a person that you actually know, this person don't pose no threat, no real threat. It sounds a lot like murder. It sounds like you killed him intentionally, because even when you had witnesses, you wouldn't get up off his neck. So it was personal. Personal does that go to first degree? I don't know, but second degree is a pretty decent ask, because you're talking about 40 years in prison. Okay, super chat. Hope you. Hey Nathan Caskel, you're so generous. Super chat. Hope you're staying safe. Y'all want a dog? Queenie, get him. Oh, watch me act scary. Get her. They know the inflection in your voice. He gonna do it every time somebody come by the door. Stop, boy. You going to go to the bathroom? Okay, Nathan. Hope you're all staying safe. I'm watching this movie called Midway. I'm mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take it anymore. That original one? I'm mad as hell. I want you to open your windows and scream at the top of your lungs. I'm mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore. It's about a newscaster who lost his mind, and his ratings went through the roof. So they made a show out of him being crazy. That's an old movie. I lost my friend. Let me see. Okay, I want to finish your statement. Okay, is that the same Midway? It's pretty good. Centers on real life moments during the Pearl Harbor attack. Oh, it's a different one there. But there was a movie called Midway, though. Who started it? Old movie from the 50s. The only thing I know about Khia is my neck, my back, relaxing my pussy and my crack. Let's just say it has memorable lyrics. But she's a funny person. When her and T.S. were doing their thing together, T.S. Madison was more the straight girl. You know, they used to have like Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin. Jerry Lewis would do all the silly stuff, and then Dean Martin would be the straight man, right? So he would bounce things off of the character. Well, Khia was really more of that character. She was the funny character. T.S. Madison would have looks of shock. Oh, you know, all that. They work very well together. But she is a talent, and she goes hard on people, her favorites in the music industry. But he took and used her material, and as a habit, lately he's been doing that. These things called reaction videos, where they play someone else's video and then they stop it, going all through it, and give commentary in the middle of their video. But the content is actually the other person's, and they get nothing for it. So I'm pretty sure that somebody put Khia up to that, or told him about it was going on. She probably wasn't even aware of it, because, like I said, before T.S. Madison, she didn't even know she could be monetized. That was a kind of a big. You would think that would be something you would be paying attention to, but she just did it for fun. They did remove the video that got him flagged. That's not the one you're seeing now. Okay, so the one I'm seeing now, that was 4 days ago. There was probably one after that. Maybe something came out yesterday or something. So if tomorrow he's not live, or if today he's not live, then we'll know that actually happened. It happened to me. They said, and I showed just 1 minute clip of Hampton. He reported it. They made me take the video down, and I couldn't make live videos for 90 days. I didn't appeal it because they said that you could easily have appealed that, because it wasn't a whole clip. It was just a minute. But I didn't care, because I didn't even understand what live was. So anyway, our menus, Khia Bitter, not Bobby Lyons. Okay, so he used there's a whole different video involved. All right, well, he'll learn his lesson, honey. I mean, sometimes seems pretty harsh to take someone's income, because that's how he makes a living. He must make pretty decent living, you know, if he's doing live videos and they're getting 40,000 views. But and if you're only dependent on that as your only source of income, that could hurt. That could sting. Ask that other woman about that. She's been stinging lately too. But it's just a correction, honey. I got to learn a lesson from this. Okay, I can't use nobody else's videos. Just get on there and just talk. People with all these tricks and stuff. I mean, I know I could probably, if I concentrated, learn about more stuff. I could do these things with these split screens where they do all this. What do you call that shit? Anyway, where they got all these people involved and all that kind of stuff. I just don't think it needs to be all that complicated. Just do your commentary and go sit your ass down somewhere. So he's got is this struggle to get content. You know, if you're not beefing with anybody, then you have to find content. You can only take so much from the news. Sometimes you get a good story that interests you or your community in the news, and sometimes something is happening with some celebrity or something like that. But basically, you got to come up with content. So, oh, my mouth is nasty. Oh, I just had a good sandwich. Someone told me that you can get these sandwiches at Safeway, right? Every time before, when I would get a sandwich from Safeway, they had all this damn bread, and I just couldn't eat it. I got too much dental stuff. It is not enjoyable for me to eat the sandwich, right? So it occurred to me you can just ask for a plain wheat bread. Anyway, they hooked that sandwich up. That was the best meal I've had in weeks. Where are we at? Your life moments per hour. Okay. So Nathan, so we're talking about two different movies then, because what I'm talking about is about it's called Midway. I'm pretty sure it's called Midway, where the guy is a newscaster has lost his mind. Okay, I just watched last night. Last 2 days. I watched on Netflix Queen of the South. That's a good series. Now I watched seasons 1, 2, 3, and 4, but I had forgotten how good it was. So now I just binge watched 4 seasons is new now. So that was great. Great diversion. Okay. Not Bobby Lyles. So Bobby Lyles technically could do the same thing. I mean, anybody could do it. I used to let people play my videos. Tracy used to play them all the time. I didn't really give a shit. But I can see where if they're watching the video through him, they might not necessarily go and see the actual video, which will mean that he's cashing in on her work, right? So it makes sense. It's up to the person. So for me, it's just better just to not even use other people's stuff. Very rarely will I even use audio on here unless I've caught them really saying something important. I mean, reaction video always gets taken down nowadays if it's over 10 minutes. Okay. So Bambi's mom says, I mean, reaction videos always gets taken down nowadays if it's over 10 minutes. It's probably the new rules of YouTube. Okay, right. So we're allowed to use somebody's video for, I think it's something like 1 minute, just for commentary sake. But you can't take somebody's whole video and just put it up. And sometimes some of these people, I hate to say it, I'm not calling out any names, but sometimes these people, they don't even involve themselves. They just take someone else's video and just replay it on there and get paid for it. Now that's wrong. I mean, you don't even have anything to say about this. You're just taking their content. Excuse me, people. I got to raise this window up. Excuse me, baby. Get up. Okay, where are we at? Baby. Are you going to be able to do this? Come on. Ooh, that air feels good. Ooh, good golly. Excuse me for a second, people. Say hello. Hello. I got to get rid of my child. He can't control himself. He's a wild dog. Get him up in there. All right, where were we at? Victoria saying first degree. Okay, let me catch up. Victoria saying first degree. You feel like, Victoria, are you talking about the George Floyd case? You feel like since he knew the man, he knew who he was killing, that would turn it to first degree? That's what I originally thought too. But I think first degree is you have to have a plan. You would have had to go there planning to murder him. Right? But I don't know how quick, how much time has to pass. Like if you get there to the scene, you go in there for a fake $20 bill, and then you realize this is a person that you hate, who you've even had physical altercation with before, and then you kill him. Is that first degree? Something they have to debate. Second degree is get them just as much time. I mean, first degree will get you life without parole at all. And how old are these guys? They're about 35, 40. So 40 years, that'll hold you, honey. Yeah, that Queen of the South. If you like gangster movies, though, it's a pretty good movie. I mean, it's series. Thank you. Nathan. These, I like gangster movies. I admit it. But a lot of these movies, you don't want to glorify using drugs, right? But I can't deal with the ones where they're showing people on the street shooting up and stuff, or people strung out. They leave that part out of these gangster movies. It's more about the business of running drug empires. This series leaves it out completely, so I can tolerate it. But when they start whooping out needles and stuff like that and broken lives and all that, then it's not nearly as entertaining. Anyway, I made it to the last episode. I'll watch it tonight. I've hated a couple of horrors in the what are you talking about? I gotta follow y'all's conversations, Eddie. You've hated a couple of coworkers in the past. Okay, so she's obviously talking to someone else. Okay, D Dot, are you talking about the Midway that Nathan was talking about? About Pearl Harbor or something? Are you talking about the one I'm talking about, where the guy is screaming, "I'm mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore"? Network. Okay, wait a minute. We got an answer here. Okay, so the one I'm talking about is Network. Thank you, Katina. And he's called Midway. All right, that makes sense. You're exactly right. Network. The network, man, it lost his mind. Why my phone? Things not moving right. Okay. Okay. Fabian Ford. Khia said that she would flag and have their pages striked. She said for 2 years, people was having her pages shut down, so she would flag everyone. Armand Subby paid him $100 to review. Oh, all right. So that thing's a lot more complicated. Yeah, I do remember Khia having different pages, different names. She's had several different names on here. So apparently she's had, it's been done to her. She said now she's going to do it to them. Khia has decided to fight back. Sometimes it's the only way you have to learn, you know. Yes, Wiggins will be out some coin because even when you go to your backup page doesn't have the numbers, right? So people have to hear it word of mouth to even know you're on there. And I think you have to get a certain amount of views on the backup page before you could even accept a super chat, from what I understand, or be monetized. You got to get monetized all over again on that back panel. He may already be monetized on it if he uses it regularly. I have a second page. I never use it. I used it when I was in the hospital, and that page still has 2 videos on it. So there I would have to build up from nowhere, from zero. What's up? You got to catch up. Nivea Smile. Well, the people are talking about Khia has struck Armand Wiggins' page for doing a reaction video on her work. Right? That means he can't go live for 90 days. That 90 days is real. I heard some people say, oh, maybe it's 30 days. No, I remember distinctly. I only had 1 strike and it was 90 days. So that hurts. If this is what you're depending on for your income, you have to work doubly hard to try to build that backup page up to where you're getting the same numbers. You're not going to get the same numbers automatically. Right? Anyway, she knocked him. Now, they both go pretty hard. He goes pretty hard at celebrities, and she goes hard at whoever she sets her sights on, mostly celebrities as well. But you're just going to have to do it without playing the people's video. Right? Okay, what's up with it? Network. Okay. The actual killer did not post bail. What do you mean? Are you saying that this dude is out? Foxy G? The actual killer did not. His bail was raised to $1.25 million. Right. I think that the other people, the other 3 cops, they were all at $1 million. So does that mean you give them $100,000 for your bail? You got to give 10%. I never did understand exactly how that bail thing works, but I believe that when you only give up 10%, you don't get that money back. It's just like a payment to your bail bondsman or whoever's going to sign for it. They ain't got to put up cash, but sign for or cover your bail. To a clean cop, $100,000 is a whole lot of money, honey. We assume that these people are clean. 2 of them have just been on the job for a couple of weeks. And this is who was training them. So when they get in trouble down the line, it's because they would have learned it from a senior officer. This dude, Chauvin. The actual killer did not post bail. So he's still in there. Is that what you're saying, Foxy G? We can retreat. You know, it will be a way normal where we congregate. I don't know what that is. He may be out on bail, but no, he isn't safe or comfortable walking around. Yeah, you're right. Behind the throne. He may be out on bail, but no, he isn't safe or comfortable walking around. He couldn't stay in the same place where he lived. I'm sure they've been around his apartment or house since this thing happened. People have to consider their families, you know. You can imagine what it's like for your kid. Well, they're all locked up. They're on lockdown anyway. But I think on bail, one of the main things is you can't leave town. So I guess they would have to just hide them out. He couldn't just be out there just going to the store and stuff. No. So they're trying to make sense out of this thing about defunding the police now. So I at first thought it a ridiculous idea. I took it to mean that you defund the police department. Like when Trump got in office, they attempted to defund Obamacare. So Obamacare had no legs because they had taken the money out of it. Apparently, this doesn't mean the same thing. They're just saying take some of the money that they use on policing and use it on programs that might help the communities and not have to need so much policing. Youth programs. I mean, young people, they need something to do. That's how they end up in trouble. Something like that. Well, apparently that's all over the country now. So it seems to me that even if they don't defund the money, they should find the money somewhere in the government for those kind of programs, particularly for homelessness. It's hard to come back from homelessness because you get further and further away. You see a homeless person been homeless for a while, they don't even use knives and forks. They just eat the food like animals. It's from being on the streets too long. Right? Using the bathroom on the streets too long. It's a huge, huge problem in San Francisco. Homelessness. So if they could take some of the money that they pay out on these cops, I imagine cops must make something around $80,000 a year. You would have to make that much to be above poverty here in San Francisco. 2 people, you have to be over $120,000 a year. So I don't think they're paying them poverty. So if you think, you know, if you got 5 or 6 less cops that could fund a whole program for a year, you know, something to think about. They're retaliating in many communities. Well, these unions are going to fight that. You know, these unions are going to have all kind of. Yeah, that dude, he is a suicide risk. Chauvin. I mean, he's not looking forward to a very bright future, right? If he got off, it wouldn't be any better for him. He definitely have to move his family from that city. Ain't no way in hell he can live there in peace. I wasn't surprised. His wife left him in the first few days after he got arrested. So he ain't got no lot going on outside of being a cop. What? Cat Bryant, come on now. New York PD, new cops make less than $40,000. How can they live on $40,000? And not in New York City, you couldn't. They probably have to live 2 or 3 hours away and drive in. Cat Bryant, are you sure about that? $40,000 is no money. The poverty level here is $120,000 to live in San Francisco. Obviously, I found ways around that because I'm an old man, but you can't live here with $40,000. I think even sometimes the cops in prison, those are just glorified guards. But even they were making $70,000 a year. The cost of living is so high here, honey, they have to make a decent living. Thomas Lane, 37, who had been held in lieu of $750,000 cash bail, was freed shortly before 410 from the Hennepin County Jail. Okay, Nicole Reloaded. Yeah, I kind of thought that was going to happen with those other three. They would probably make their bail, because nowadays you have crowdfunding. So people who believe in this, all this policing and stuff like that, everybody got a following, right? They could probably raise that money, because $750,000. I mean, he has to come up with his cash bail would be $75,000. And I'm not clear if he has to go through a bondsman still. In other words, you got to go down there and sign your mama's house over, or your own house over, for collateral. So one is out. Is that what you're saying, Nicole? Yeah. Probably the other two will get out as well. $75,000 isn't all that much money. I mean, it's a fortune to me, but they've raised in the Floyd name, what, $30 million on one, and then something like I think the last number I heard was another agency has raised $17 million for the Floyd estate. I don't know what they need. I guess they, anytime you got lawyers involved, they're going to end up with the bulk of the money. So we're hoping that the Floyd family actually benefit from all this money they raised. $30 million is a lot of money. I mean, that could support his baby mama and his child for a long time. To at least do that, it's not about money, but at the same time, money does make life easier. So I would hope they're going to take care of his family with that kind of money. I don't know what the rules are about suing cops, though. Do they still have to have a civil? So that's one of the things they're asking for, is that cops can be sued. So does that mean that they can't currently be sued? Are they locked into some low amount that the city will pay? So I can get this thing to stop jumping around. Okay. First 5 years until top pay. Okay, so they get incremental raises. Well, that's true on most jobs. But $40,000 in New York City, $40,000 maybe in somewhere in Indiana somewhere might be a decent wage. But that's zero in New York City. If your rent's $3,000 a month, what's that? That's $36,000 for your rent. So you get $4,000 a year. It is $45,000 to $94,000 per year for New York City. Oh, I bet they have a lot of corruption there then. Maybe 94,000. Because I just know that the cost of living is here. It's worse in New York City. So I don't know how they can survive on that. Let's go with they have one kid, so they got a 2-bedroom apartment. They're going to pay at least $3,000 for that. Maybe more, because they say a 1-bedroom go for $3,000. So $3,000 times 12, what is that? $36,000 a year. Now, how are you going to make $40,000 a year and you're paying $36,000 a year rent? Most of these guys, they don't own no homes unless they was passed down from their family, right? So most of them are renters. How can you live on that? And that's their little tiny cramped spaces. Bright Star says, Uncle Tim, what do you think about canceling show Cops? I haven't watched that in 30 years, child. Is it been on 30 years? I haven't watched the show so long, I don't know what they do on there. Mostly harassing poor people. Yeah, I would imagine they'd be in hiding somewhere, maybe with family or... Let's get rid of this, shall we? Okay. Yes, don't forget to hit the like button here and on Deanna Irving's page. She's obsessed with her like button. Come on, give me 4 more likes. Can I get 40 more likes? I just felt you have to give one out of guilt. Yeah, I would think that would be a recipe for corruption there. If you're getting $40,000 and you're paying $36,000 for rent, I mean, how do you eat? How do you pay your lights? Can you have cable? Correction officer in New York. Yeah, okay. That sounds more reasonable. Correction officer, as is from Angela R. Correction officer in New York can make over 100 grand even for the first 5 years. Top pay is about, but then you say, wait a minute, they can make $100,000 a year for a correction officer. That's just a glorified security guard in prison. It's a guard. But top pay is about 40,000. How is top pay 40,000 then? So you're saying correction officers make more than cops? Somebody would have to research that. I just can't accept that they make $40,000. I mean, people here in San Francisco work at McDonald's make damn near 40,000. They make 30-something thousand flipping burgers. Okay, what? That's one element, Kat. So if they're married, then they have 2 incomes. But teachers don't make a lot of money either. So they have 2 incomes, and do they need childcare? Are they childless? That's still not a lot of money. Even $80,000 is not a lot of money. So I don't know. I would guess if you're in New York City, you have to make about close to $100,000. Maybe there is a probationary period where you don't make it immediately going in. Mm-hmm. I know cops robbed me more than once, at least 3 times. I mean, they took my drug money. Hell, if I knew they make $40,000, I might have donated it. Yeah, I seriously doubt it's 40 grand. Maybe if you're in a training period or something like that, where you're like, what do you call that thing? Where you go and you're an intern. Interns generally, a lot of interns don't even get paid. Not only cops, but all different kinds of jobs. They don't get paid, or they get a short salary. Now, something like that, you can get away with 40,000, right? Thanks, Nathan. You must be a rich man. Lawsuits should go out against the cops that killed George Floyd and Trump. That killed and Trump killed George Floyd. Definitely should be lawsuits go out. But I don't know what you're saying. And Trump. Hold on. Why does my computer not roll right? I just can't get it to roll right. Okay. And Trump, no president has fueled more hatred, caused more racist events. And Georgia having all that voter interference with the black voters. Yeah, he don't want us to vote by mail. They're going to use every trick they can to get as few people to vote as possible. Then he's going to draw all the poor white people out on the street and make them vote in person. Trump says next Friday, he's beginning his rallies again, just like nothing ever happened, even though the numbers have not gone down at all as a whole. The numbers have gone down in several cities, in New York City, let's say, but it rose up in another 25% of the cities. So it's the same, basically. He says he's going to send them people out there. So that means Trump don't even give a damn about his followers. He's sentencing them to possible death. There's no way you're going to be able to control the air in the crowded ass buildings screaming Republicans. Unless he's still just not taking it seriously, even at over 108,000 people dead. George Floyd's death leaves jail after. So we got one guy that left jail that we know of. Okay. New York City teachers make a good salary. They do. Kat, why you are giving us you're giving us different information? We've always heard that teachers didn't make anything compared to what they do for a living, right? I know professors. You would think that a professor in a college would make a lot of money, but they've got to be a tenured professor working full time, which most of them are not. Most of them are they just have a certain amount of classes. They come in and do their class, and they got to go somewhere else and get money from other places. But in order to live in New York City, you have to make money. I mean, I'm sure that the minimum, whatever the minimum wage is in these places, you have to be able to live in the city where you're working at. Or you're going to end up turning an 8-hour day into a 12-hour work day, just going home, go to sleep, and then drive back. And you know what the traffic is like. The goal here in San Francisco, I do have a friend who lives in one of them too, is to have below market rate housing for teachers, nurses, firemen, and police, so that they are able to report to work instantly. Like, you can't be a doctor and have a 2-hour commute, because the doctor's got to be on call, has got to be ready to be there. So we would strongly prefer that people who are working in those positions live here in the city. They're working on it. There are a few units being built. They've been in the building boom here until this Corona thing hit. This apartment below market rate. A lot of us wouldn't even be able to survive here. You'd have to be rich. Trump says the 75-year-old man is a terrorist. He's Antifa. He's not even black, but he's working for Antifa to start riots. And then when he failed, he made himself fall harder, and he made his ear bleed and all this conspiracy bullshit. If Trump would at least read something, he doesn't read anything. He watches Fox News, and then an hour later, he's on his Twitter machine. That's kind of it. He watches these right-wing websites online, and then he retweets what they say. He totally ignores all the people who are in senior positions in the White House, or in what do you call that? People in charge of security. He ignores them. They talk too much, he fires them. The UK is a waste of money? Why is the UK a waste of money? That's where I'm going to go. I want to go to London. He says Africa is better. Mm-hmm. Teachers have always been underpaid for what they do. And it used to be that those were the jobs where a lot of women would have. Nurses and teachers, which are both essential. We both need, teachers and nurses. Nurses always made a pretty good salary, but teachers have always been traditionally underpaid for what they do. Even what it's like to take care of one child. Imagine taking care of 30 of them who have no reason to respect you. Yeah, we have great risk control here. So people ask, well, I'll go down the street. I can say, that guy ain't got no $1 million for no house. That guy ain't got no $5,000 a month for rent. And that guy, well, a lot of these guys who are, let's say my age or better, they have rent control. So people don't move here very often. And a lot of them, they have more rent control here than they have market rate units. I think they have more below market rate, or just as many below market rate units available as market rate. Something like that. I know for sure that there's a lot of these units are rent controlled, or these older people own their homes. And sometimes they pass them on to their relatives. But just coming into the city now, you're looking at $3,000-$4,000 a month for rent, and not any glamorous rental apartments. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I wonder why people even stay in these places. If I had children, first thing I would do is move out of San Francisco. Because all the prices we quote you, they're all talking about studio, 1-bedroom apartments. They're not even telling you about trying to raise a family here. $2-3 million for condos. Uh-huh. Yeah, so we have control here. The not in the new building. It's got to be a building I think built before 1970 something, 76 or something like that. Those buildings have rent control, right? I imagine people must be making a lot of money these days. Angela R. 40 is without OT, the starting salary. Okay. Yeah, I imagine they get a lot of OT though. But do you want to work all day long? I mean, in order to make a living, to support your family, you have to work 12 hours a day. So she's saying that you can get a lot of overtime. And I imagine with cops, there probably is a lot of overtime available. When I was in jail, that's what usually the conversation between cops was, the overtime. And a lot of cops work second jobs. They work security in stores. You go into Safeway over here, it looks like a fortress now, all these cops around wearing real badges. But the same thing, you put in 8 hours, so you're going to put in 4 hours somewhere else. Time you get home, all you can do is go to sleep. But with OT, night difference, uniform allowance, paid holidays, etc., but you can make way more. Corrections. Yeah, at one time they had in LA, one of the a person on the janitorial staff in LA was making more, one of the highest paid people in LA, but the man was working 80 hours a week. Mm-hmm. But you can make way more. Corrections makes more than people retired. Okay. Well, that helps explain it then, Angela. You got to do overtime. More tired they are, probably the more wicked they are as well. They said one of them cops he hadn't been to sleep in 24 hours. Something like that. The attorney states he did everything he could to within his power to save Mr. Floyd's life. The fundraiser concludes. To save his life? Yes, municipal people will work very. I just can't imagine. I mean, granted, cops have a certain amount of power to control people, but how are you going to arrive on the scene? And this is a person that you have worked with for years. You don't get along with him. You don't like his ass, but you have worked with him for years. How are you going to just go in and stump that man's life out? It seems like just the fact that you knew him would tell you this is not some wild, dangerous criminal. He's not carrying a gun or anything. He's not even accused of having a gun. He's handcuffed the whole time. It's just crazy. I wouldn't be surprised if his cop doesn't make it. Now, I don't mean by somebody else's hand. I mean by his own hand. What does he got to live for? What does this cop got to live for? He's not going to be no superhero in prison. That's for damn sure. I need a craft talent that's going to generate me $50K a month. That's reaching, Tiffany. $50K a month. People find ways to make money. Some of these YouTubers make good money. Some of them work, some of them don't, you know. There are ways to do it. Well, no one can deny that George Floyd's life certainly did matter. Unfortunately, we get to see it afterwards. We, the people, have made it matter. If laws are changed, then that would be a great thing. That's a good thing to leave to his children. My daddy calls that. Yep, I think he recognized who he was and then killed him. Or maybe Floyd was treating him rough. Because if they worked together for years, then they probably were real enemies. Because they had him in the car already. All you do is close the door. I'm sure George Floyd was not so strong that he couldn't stop these 3 cops from closing the police door. The windows are bulletproof. I mean, you can't do so much damage in there. That'd have been it. But no, they got him in the car and then they pulled him out. He would probably be resisting him because they were probably throwing him in the car and they were treating him roughly. Probably because this cop knew him, because the cop was the leader. The other guys were just learning. They were rookies. A week on a job, you don't know nothing. You're just observing. Well, you should not be, I'll say this, you should not be defunding the police department if they're making $40,000 a year living in New York City, Los Angeles, Chicago, San Francisco. If they're living in any of these high-ass cities and trying to live off $40,000, I would say no, you shouldn't be worried about defunding the police department. Unless you're going to take people off the job, which will probably make it worse. Smarter minds are working these things out than me. But it is a serious issue. They're debating a serious issue. They were in the Congress today. I mean, what kind of programs will stop crime? You think about it. What kind of programs, what could they do with money to stop crime? I think a huge thing would be to do something about this homeless situation. People who live on the street, nowhere to go, are desperate people. They commit crimes to survive. So addressing that, if they could address that, that would be a major, major thing to me. Youth programs, of course. Get kids involved in sports and stuff like that after school. That would be a great thing. But I don't know if it moves you away from needing cops, though. And a lot of times, they're just riding around all day doing nothing. We all know about cops and donuts at the donut stores. But, I mean, how are we going to survive without them? Now, in the UK, I don't think they even have guns. I think they can call for backup with guns if needed. But their patrol cops, don't they still just have a stick? Believe so. But this country is so dangerous because we got so many damn guns. So they're not going to go out there unarmed. Ms. Lady Snoop, well, hello there. I've been watching for a while without saying hello. Hello, Mr. Tim. Hello, Tim Blaine. I go from Mr. Tim to Tim Blaine, Uncle Tim. They don't know how to talk to old people. Yeah, welcome, honey. Sometimes we just sit here and talk for a little bit. Thank you, Angela R. Device intervention took over. Well, they look like army men when they come out of them damn cars. They got bulletproof vests, mace, stun guns, real guns. They got what do you call it? Plastic guns on them. So is that what you're saying? Device intervention took over. This incident here was just hands-on, but of course it's not even because it's not a fair fight. Of course, you're still in handcuffs. They still got all this stuff on them, But yeah, they got a whole lot of stuff. But somehow or other, it seems like most of the time when they get into these situations where they have killed somebody, the camera was not working. The camera was malfunctioning. All this bullshit we have to hear. That should never happen. They got cameras and everything now, I'm surprised they can even run and all that stuff they put on, though. Maybe they can defund some of that. We got along fine without it before, right? Yeah, well, if their bail, I thought they said yesterday that the bail on these guys was $1 million each, and $1.25 million for Chauvin. But if it's at 750,000, and if they're still required to just pay a tenth, so $75,000 a piece, they can get out. You can crowdfund that money. These celebrities, they go on there, tap, 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 and they didn't raise $300,000. But at least these cops have been charged. They can't go anywhere. They're not going to try to run. They're not that stupid. They have the whole world looking for them. And if you put up your house as collateral, you lose that if you jump. Tess and Mess. Aren't you doing the series on that lady? I don't say her name over here. I think I saw you doing your series on whatchamacallit. I appreciate it, Angela. Well, I'm surprised to find out that, because I thought that every time you talked about the George Floyd incident, they would demonetize you, said that it's not suitable for all audiences. But every single one of the videos that I made about on this George Floyd incident, they've all been monetized. So they're not doing that in this instance. Sometimes they will do that about current cases, and they'll do it about talk about any kind of suicide, anything like that. But no, they're not demonetizing us for talking about this. Almond Brown said he's not live on either. So Armand Wiggins is not live on either page. I saw that he was live 20 hours ago. What was the thing called? With this Bobby Lights. No, it's something called 9 to 5 Worker. But that was, if it just happened today, then he hasn't been live today. That's going to hurt that dude, no matter what he says. He can shift to another page. A lot of people will hear about it. People are hearing about it right now. But that money is slow money. And you got to get it up to where you're able to monetize it, and also to get super chats on that page. So it's a tremendous inconvenience. Sometimes people, you just got to accept things. You say, okay, I can't do that anymore. I can just change my things just slightly. And don't be so resistant. You don't want these people going back looking into your videos to find out where you use something, You kind of, sometimes you have to just accept it. Okay, I did this for 3 years and I finally got caught. Yeah, if Miss Khia is coming up with all the roasting gags, she should be paid for it. It's her stuff. You can't go in there getting more money from her stuff than she does. That's not right either. I only attempted to flag one person. They appealed it, and I don't know why, because they just straight paid my content. But the process they take you through, I said, I don't give a fuck about any of that stuff. Yeah. I'm not in the big numbers. You're getting 50, 100,000 views, then maybe it's worth messing with, because you want to discourage people from doing it. I mean, she's not only just getting him whatever that little video is worth. She's getting him to not do it to her anymore, not steal her material. See, that's where Madison would have been a big help to Khia, because Khia wasn't all that internet savvy. And T.S. Madison is more of like a businesswoman, where she does know the ins and outs, or she hires people who knows the ins and outs of technology. Right. So I think that Khia would probably be better off. They probably both be better off if they stayed together, but it wasn't to be. Oh no, we encourage nobody to commit suicide, honey. It always gets better. Oh God. Trump, Bonnie and Sophie Watkins Entertainment. Trump just announced he will not remove Confederate flags from military bases because it's part of our heritage. So he's proud of that heritage. The racist heritage of this country, he's proud of it. They're very good people, he says. He doesn't want it to die. If Trump could turn all these people against each other, he definitely would on a racial basis. This is what he likes. I cringe to think of what these rallies are going to sound like when he starts them. He said he's starting them coming next Friday. So he don't even give a damn about the people who follow him. He'll put their life at risk. Those are mostly old people in his audiences. This close, spitting, yelling, cheering. He don't give it. Trump is not a very intelligent person either. I mean, I don't think he thinks a lot about things. He's not a thinking man. Every time you ask Barack Obama a question, it'd always be a delay. I said, come on, Barack, come on. It'd always be a delay. And he said, it's because I want to know what I'm talking about when I speak. So he thinks, a thinking person. I don't think Trump does any, he doesn't process any of that. It's right off the top of his lips. You see how fast he threw that damn fence up around the White House? How many were consulted about that? All right, people, I run my mouth enough. Okay, so I guess Armand says he has a backup page. Maybe he'll try to go live on that. But it's a lesson to be learned, using other people's information for your content. Don't use other people's, and please, people, this is one thing I don't like. Don't just take someone's content and just put it up on your page. You don't even say anything about it. You just put it up on your page. We don't need to get the news that way because you're cashing in on it. That's wrong. All right, guys. Thanks for coming in. The closing statement will be, Chio has a mental illness by Blue Sky. That kind of sums it up.